Are housing prices going down? Well, hey, this is Larry Gonzales from Aligned Mortgage with your Mortgage Market Minute, your weekly mortgage update. And before I get going, like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Man, I would love that. That will help me grow my audience a lot. What are we looking at out there? Is the housing market turning? That's a big question, and I get that all the time. If you Google, are we in a housing bubble, you'll get a whole bunch of different opinions. But I'm going to tell you what I see here and basically the reports I see across the nation. So first, let's talk about wages. There are a couple wage reports that came out this week. Wages are up 4.1% across the nation year over year. All right, that's the highest increase we've had in 13 years. All right, John Deere. All right, they've been in a strike for, I don't know, they settled 3 different strikes yesterday. All right, and guess what? All Deere employees got an $8,500 automatic bonus and a 10% raise and guaranteed raises over the next 6 to 10 years, plus retirement bonuses. All right, that's pretty huge. And here's another one. For most of my clients, they don't care about John Deere because they don't own a John Deere unless it's a toy. But Secretary of Defense Austin, all right, he basically said, hey, you know what? Our service members, they're having food insecurity, and they can't compete in markets where the housing cost and the cost to rent has gone up so much. So basically he said, hey, BAH is going up, but in many parts of the country, there's been an early increase in the BAH. And for us in Hawaii, it better go up, right? Because we've had about 25% appreciation this year alone. All right, and last year BAH didn't go up for most people. So we're due, all right? Housing starts, okay? We had a couple housing reports come out this week. One of them was on housing starts, and we're down 4% decrease in single-family home starts month over month, all right? Which kind of leads us to staying in a tight inventory environment, all right? Units that were authorized but not started, all right, that increased 5% month over month. So what does that mean? So people sign contracts on homes, but they haven't started building them. All right, there's a 5% increase in those numbers, all right, which leads to what? A tighter inventory, because you could buy a home, but you're not going to, normally you get it in 6 to 8 months. It might not be a year before that home is ready. All right, so what does that mean? Tighter inventory. All right, and we have a backlog of houses because the demand is still there. All right, so we also had an infrastructure bill that was signed for $1.2 trillion. Now, on surface, that's a lot, but it's really over 6 years, so you're talking $500 billion a year for infrastructure. So roads, electric grids, things we need, but that also is going to create an increase in inflation. Really, one of the reasons why interest rates are going higher right now is because inflation is so high. All right. So the question becomes, well, how much longer are we going to have higher inflation? It'll be for a while. But some of the causes for the inflation are wages. All right, wages is what's called sticky. All right, that inflation isn't going to go away. It's not like John Deere folks who got a 10% raise. They're not going to lose that raise. All right, but maybe the cost of milk will go down. All right, maybe the cost of fuel will go down. That's not as sticky. All right, those kind of are cyclical and based on supply chain issues. We are going to have an increase in inflation. All right, one of the main ways we fight that is through raising interest rates. All right, but we can't raise them too much, because if we do, then businesses stop borrowing money. All right, and we kind of go into a recession. All right, and obviously, if you're President Biden, you do not want that. CoreLogic rental index came out this week, and I'm kind of all over the place, but these things are all related. All right, CoreLogic, the rental index, is up 10% year over year. All right, that's the highest increase in rents in over 16 years. All right, it's getting expensive to buy a home. It's getting a lot more expensive to rent. Apartments are up 16%. All right, year over year. That's a steep, right? So this leads me to a report that came out earlier this week, and that's consumer confidence, all right? And it's the lowest level that we've had in 10 years, all right? I am not a negative Nelly. I'm a pretty positive guy because you got to have faith. But a lot of people don't have confidence, right? Confidence in buying a car, lowest level since 1978. Confidence in buying a home, lowest level since 1982. Confidence in buying a home appliance, like a refrigerator, lowest since 1980. And by confidence, I mean people are less inclined to do that right now because they're worried about feeding themselves. They got that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They got to feed themselves before they go buy a new car. They gotta clothe themselves. They gotta pay for their heater bill or their electric bill before they go buy that new refrigerator. And the big reason for that is the inflation. I think inflation, all right, have we peaked on, we're talking about, has the housing market peaked or is it starting to go down? Well, inflation, let's see if it's peaked. We're not going to have that answer this month. We probably won't have it next month. We're in the holiday season. But we should, I think inflation is going to settle out and come down. All right, especially as we get supply chain issues in our ports, they're starting to improve. I don't know if we have enough truck drivers, though. Interesting, we'll see. All right, so this leads me to, are housing prices going down? No, because we have a strong demand. All right, again, last month appreciation was at 1.8% month over month, the same as it was the previous month. So that's the first time where we didn't have an increase since like April. Okay, but does that mean home prices depreciated? Does that mean home prices went down? Nah, there's still 1.8% appreciation month over month. That's almost 24% appreciation year over year. I think it's going to continue to slow down, but you're still going to have positive appreciation, and that is because demand is still very high and inventory for the things I just mentioned. Housing starts going down. Talked about it last week. There's no housing ferry, right? Housing ferry isn't sprinkling houses here and sprinkling houses there. We ain't got none. If you're thinking about, do I buy a home or do I rent? Do you want to pay yourself or do you want to pay a landlord? All right. So when it comes to rent buy, all right, you might as well pay especially if your rent's going to be like $4,000. Okay. So again, invest. Do you invest in your land or do you invest in yourself? All right. Hawaii is about appreciation. All right. If you haven't been in one of our seminars, we talk about that. Now, I'm not saying going out. If you have a cheeseburger or a Big Mac budget, don't go buy a filet mignon house. All right. If you got a $500,000 budget for your home or $600,000, then you need to stick to that. Don't go crazy. All right. Because then you put yourself and your family at risk. And be smart about it. All right. I don't care who your lender is, but you need to sit down with them and make sure that you got all your bases covered. You got an exit strategy for when it comes time to move. Short-term home ownership, I tell you, it's risky. It was a great risk these last 2 years. I know people have made over $100,000 buying and selling a home within a year or after a year. But there's no guarantee of the future. Supply is super low, demand is super high, rates are still really low, inventory is still really low. So to me, that's just keeping the pressure on prices to continue to go up. Oh yeah, and here's one other thing. We just opened up, all right? The United States just opened up to international travel. Sure did. Japan, China, Korea. All right, they love to come. Everyone loves to come to Hawaii. All right, but they're coming with money and they like to buy investment properties. They have a lot of money right now. That is going to add pressure to the housing market. All right, and we all know how tough it is in this market. All right, cash offers are still out there. People are still making cash offers on homes. It makes it very difficult for any type of loan, really, conventional or VA, to get a home. All right, so that is going to keep pressure on the housing market as international travelers start to come into our beautiful state of Hawaii. It's just something to think about. That's about all I have for you today. Gosh, I think it was a little bit more than normal, but I think it's important that we kind of lay out everything. Everything is kind of related, all right? Wages, inflation, housing starts, inventory, infrastructure bill, inflation. All of these things play a part in determining rates, inventory, and prices. They're all related. All right. I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you later.